What's up YouTube? I'm here to do my prediction video for the Ultimate Fighter finale, American Top Team versus Black Zillions. If you didn't watch this season, the first half was kind of boring, the second half really picked up, and that final fight was super amazing. I think that was the second best fight I've ever seen on the Ultimate Fighter, right after Amir Sadollah versus CV Dalloway, the first one. I mean, it was really good. It was super back and forth, and I really thought it could have went either way. I had Hayden Hansen winning by split decision, but it was super close. Vincent Luque definitely could have pulled it off there. It was super close. I think it really came down to that second round, but I had Hansen winning by split decision. And now we got the Ultimate Fighter finale. It's weird that I think there's only 2 fights on this finale that's actually guys from the show. So let's get started. The first fight is George Sullivan versus Dominic Waters. And I'd say George Sullivan wins by first round KO. I feel like, Dominic Waters is the new guy trying to make his debut, but George Sullivan is really, he's a great striker, and I think he's just going to be able to control this pace with his striking and probably win by KO in the first or second round. Next, we got Dan Miller versus Trevor Smith. And both these guys haven't fought in a while. Dan Smith much longer. But I think Dan Miller moving back to middleweight is a smart choice. He just looked too drawn out at welterweight. Like, it looked like he didn't look very good at that weight class. And I think at middleweight, even if he's a little undersized, at least he's healthy. And then Trevor Smith, he's a good wrestler, but his chin isn't very good. And I think that Dan Miller's probably going to win by knockout or submission. I just feel like Dan's a little bit better everywhere, and he's more grittier. And he'll just be able to force positions that he wants with his jiu-jitsu or striking. So I'm going to pick Dan Miller by knockout. Next, we got Sio Magalesh versus Josh Saman. And this fight could honestly go either way, but I'm going to pick Josh Saman. I think Sio Magalesh is just falling in love with his striking a little bit too much. And I think Saman is the better striker. And we're going to see that in this fight. And, if Sio was smart, he would use his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu, but I think he's just going to try to strike with Josh, and I think Josh is going to take advantage of that and win by knockout, probably in the first or second round. Next, we got Maximo Blanco versus Mike Del Torre. And Mike Del Torre, he's pretty good striker jiu-jitsu guy, but I feel like striking-wise, Maximo Blanco is just a little bit faster, and he's got a pretty big advantage wrestling-wise. And I think that that's going to be the difference in this fight. I think he just uses his striking to keep it even, and then he'll get takedowns to get the points and win a 30-27 decision. I think it'll be a fun fight. I think it'll be a back and forth fight, but I think that Blanco will win just because the takedowns will edge him out the rounds. Next, we got Daryl Montague versus Willie Gates, and I feel like they're trying to feed Daryl Montague a win here because he got 2 really tough guys off the bat in Horiguchi and John Dodson. And now they're kind of giving him a guy who he could probably easily beat. And I think Daryl Montague is probably going to win by first round submission, and then probably get a top 15 guy in his next fight. Next, we got Russell Doane versus Gerard Sanders. And Gerard Sanders isn't very good. He's just a decent wrestler with good submissions, but he's not going to be able to take Doane down. And even if he does, I think Doane's the better grappler. And I think striking-wise, it's super one-sided. So I think Doane's probably going to win by knockout or TKO with ground and pound, probably in the first or second round. Next, we got Michelle Waterson versus Angela Mangana. So I'm going to pick Michelle Waterson. I feel like they're kind of feeding her a fight so she can just be in the top 15 for the women's strawweight because she's the former Invicta champion. A lot of that's going on in this card. It looks like a lot of guys are getting fed fights, but definitely think Michelle Waterson's the better fighter, and she's probably going by first round submission. Next, we got Jorge Masvidal versus Cesar Ferreira. And I don't know how Cesar's going to make this weight. It's not like he was a small middleweight. That dude is freaking huge. I think that this weight cut's going to hurt him. I think he's going to be drawn out, as where Masvidal has fought in welterweight a lot of times. I don't think he should, because he's not that big of a welterweight. He looks like a medium-sized lightweight, maybe a little bit big of a lightweight, but he's not a huge lightweight. I don't think that's hard of a cut for him to make lightweight. So I say he wins this fight, and hopefully Masvidal goes back down to lightweight. I think Masvidal is going to win by KO. I don't think the size is going to help Ferreira in this fight. I think it's going to hurt him. I think it's going to make him lose too much weight, and he's going to be too drawn out, and his chin's not going to be there like his chin was ever there. For those of you who ever watched him fight, this dude gets knocked out like all the time. So I'm going to pick Masvidal to win by KO in the first round. Next we got Michael Graves, who had probably the biggest comeback in the Ultimate, one of the biggest comebacks in the Ultimate Fighter after Amir Sadollah. against Vincent Luque, who had the great fight in the finale against Hayter Hayson. I'm gonna pick Graves. I just feel like he's grittier, and Luque has a lot of losses. I don't think he's that great. I think he just looked better on the show because some guys do better in that environment than others. But I think Graves versus Luque, we're gonna see who's the real better guy, and I definitely think it's Graves. So I'm gonna pick Graves by submission, probably in the second or third round by rear naked choke. Next, we got Hayter Hansen, the guy who won 3 fights on The Ultimate Fighter. He looked like a badass this season. I mean, this guy looks like a miniature version of Robbie Lawler versus Karamu Usman. And Usman just looked boring as hell. Usman's a really good wrestler, but aside from that, he does not have very well-rounded skills. I feel like as long as Hayson worked on his takedown defense, he'll win this fight easy, and I think that that's what he did. I would just train my takedown defense really hard and getting back up. And he had that on the show. I thought he had great takedown defense and great ability to stand back up. I just think that that's the only thing he needed to work on a little bit more. And I'm pretty sure he's done that. So come this fight, I think he's probably going to win by KO or decision. So, hopefully, because I think of all the guys in some of the past seasons, he's one of the guys that deserves to win more than anybody. So I'm going to pick Hayter Hassan. Finally, we got Stephen Thompson versus Jake Ellenberger. And I feel like this fight's going to be one side. I think Stephen Thompson's going to win by KO in the first or second round. I think as soon as Jake Ellenberger is not able to get those takedowns, he's going to be swinging at him, and he's going to miss. And Thompson's going to take advantage, and he's going to win with a counter punch. And like I said, he's probably going to win by knockout in the first or second round. So that's all I got to say about that. I think Stephen Thompson's definitely a strong up-and-comer, and Jake Ellenberger hasn't looked great in a while. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll put my prediction video up for Mir versus Duffy. If you guys don't know, that's coming out on the 15th, so it's in like 6 days. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.